Hello everyone. Good evening from the city of Lagos, from Nigeria, to you all from wherever you may be watching us. I hope you can hear me live and clear. Mr. James Popola, you are very much welcome. I hope you can all hear me live and clear. So, okay, Mr. James Popola Ekalesa, thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up here tonight. In fact, you are the first person to be here, so I so much appreciate that. And I promise you that being here tonight, like, yeah, is going to be very impactful for you. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. So if you can hear me live, clear, if you can see me clearly and you can hear me clearly. So if you can see me and you can hear me clearly, please just okay, thank you very much. It means you can hear me. Thank you very much. So we are waiting for others to join. So once they join, we will start in earnest. So we don't have any time to waste, because I'm sure many of us, we also have so many things we should be doing right now. To me, Adepoju, you are welcome. You are welcome. Thanks for showing up tonight at the April edition of the Outliers series. So this is going to be the fourth edition in this year, and believe me, it has been. Oh, thank you very much. My network is okay too. Oh, thank you very much, Mr. James. So this is the fourth edition. So, and believe me, it has been mind blowing, like mind boggling. I myself, like, I've been learning a great deal, and I keep on improving on myself. So Mr. OK Junior, you are so much welcome. Saka Zaya Chan, you are also welcome. So Mr. OK Junior, thank you for showing up here. Thank you for showing up. So because he was the first person I invited to the first edition of Outlier series, and believe me, he's somebody who is young and who is achieving amazing things already. Like, he's a global personnel. He's a global person. So Mr. OK Junior, you are so much welcome. And once again, thanks for gracing the last episode we had here. So Mr. James Popola, you said you've made three series. Yes, probably. So you can catch up the replay on the on Instagram. Like, I usually uploaded the replay after each session. Shout out to Oga the boss, the guest for today's session, Mr. Raymond Okpani, all the way from Cyprus. So you are so much welcome. So we are giving you a digital clap. So because your presence here tonight means a great deal to us. So I will please, Mr. Raymond, made a request for you to be a co-host. Once you make a request, I will accept your request. Then we can just go live. Just make a request for you to join this live series. So once you make a request, you also appear live and clear as I appear right now. So please make a request. So thank you all for showing up here. We are still expecting more and more people, and I'm sure everywhere will filled up very very soon. So so Radia Radiant Noon. Oh, Radiant Noon Estate. You are welcome. You are welcome, Radiant Noon Estate. So Mr. Raymond. Wow. Like, it's so great to see your face again like this, eh? In fact, the picture you uploaded didn't do enough justice to how handsome you are in real life. So seeing you like this, I know that no, like, so it's good to see you here tonight. So thank you for coming. Like, I know you're a very busy person. It's not easy to be a global man. It's not easy to be putting up events in several countries in Africa. So we are very grateful for you to come here tonight. So Mr. Nehemiah Real Estate, you are
Can you
welcome.
hear me very clearly?
Loud and clear. We can hear you crystal clear. So thank you very much for coming here tonight. So Caleb Adedoran, you're also welcome. So as we continue, more and more people will join us. So my guy at the top, how is Cyprus?
Very well. Everything is it's very hot actually. Yeah, just like about 1 month ago, it was extremely very cold. It was the coldest it has been in the last 46 years. But again, just 1 month later, everywhere is crazy hot. But again, we're here.
All right, all right. We can really say that you're enjoying yourself. We don't even need to ask if you're enjoying yourself or not because it shows all over you that you're enjoying yourself. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. So let me quickly say one or two things about Mr. Raymond Okpani. Though I posted some things about you on social media, but for those just joining us, this man you are looking at is a very young man and doing so amazingly well. You know, I used to say something that if you see somebody doing so amazingly well, they know something that you don't know. How can you be so humble enough to meet them so that they can show you the way? That's going to be the next thing. And that is why we organize, that's why I put all together this outlier series so that you'll be learning from those that are doing amazingly well. So Mr. Raymond is the convener of Youth Park Pan Africa, and they usually hold a yearly program at a specific African country. Last year, he had a program at Rwanda whereby several youths from all over Africa attended the event. And this young man you are looking at has been invited, as was invited by the presidency of Rwanda to speak with 10,000 youths in Rwanda. Imagine speaking with 10,000 youths, and he's a Nigerian. So saying complaining about the economic situation, I'm sure after this series, you will stop that tonight. You believe that you have no like in fact you have no excuse to become a failure or not to perform to your optimum level. So Mr. Raymond, we welcome you here tonight. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for
So
having me. This is really inspiring. I mean, when I got the message from you, of course, I had checked out some of the things that you're doing, and I like the concept because we actually growing on stories and experiences of other people. And sometimes I always like to tell people that our breakthrough is actually in a conversation that we are yet to have, or in a discussion we are yet to find ourselves inside. And so yeah, it's really very interesting when we so guys, just give me like 1 minute, just give me a minute.
no problem, sir.
Yes.
So I will advise you all to get the writing material or just open down your notepad because there'll be so many things for you to write to pen down tonight. And with my writing materials, yeah, like I'm sure this is just how they paid off tonight. So you can
Yes.
continue, sir.
Yes, so I was just saying that I like the concept because we all deal on stories and experiences of other people. Sometimes we just need that one statement that will light up the bulb in our head. Everybody, we all have our purpose. We have things that is always going through our minds, but the activities or programs like the Outlier series kind of presents you an opportunity to lighten up or to spark up those ideas and the vision. So I was really very excited when I checked out the things that you have done and the previous activities. And yes, I'm happy to be here. And I mean, I'll really be sharing as much as I can to just perhaps inspire someone here who have been waiting, or you're waiting when you have all the money or you have all the resources and all those things. Maybe through my story, you can actually find a place where you can also launch out and do so much more for yourself.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So once again, I appreciate your showing up here tonight. Believe me, it means a great deal to me and my entire community. It means a great deal to all of us because I know your schedule is so tight and so hectic. So being here tonight means a great deal to every one of us. So I would like to ask you one question, sir. And like I can call this program just like a baby to me. And you know the way somebody focus on raising a baby, you give them attention, you give them care. Because not just my community are being impacted. I myself, I was being impacted. Our last speaker, the Aso Rock reporter, Stephen Angulu, said something about grace during his last program. He said, grace, Ganiyu. People need to pray for grace, no matter how young you are. Grace, it's not just about hard work. And since then, I know that at least hard work is important, and prayer too is also very important. So I'm sure that there'll be so many things to take away. What I'm just want to say is just that value, I'm adding value to myself and the community too. They are benefiting a great deal from it. So Mr. Sonia Owogba, Owoha, you're welcome. Abdul Salam, you're welcome. And my life, you're welcome. So Mr. Raymond, you are in Cyprus. But I would like to ask that, before things become like that, has not always been rosy. Has not always been so cool and calm and this. So what I would like to say is just that your background, what role has your background play from where you had before and where you are right now? So your background, how is it like? Is it that you are born by a billionaire or something like that?
Okay, so actually, let me say this. You know, my story is really my life trajectory is something that sometimes I even get to think about it. I get to think through it, and I really can't fix it up. So about my background, I was born and brought up in a city called Aba in Abia State, right? And I'm
Wow.
just trying to tell my story so that okay, said we wouldn't leave here. Okay, don't worry. I'll try not to share him so much. So, guys, in a very short time, I was born and brought up in Aba, right? That was where I went to primary school, secondary school. I struggled to go to school because, I mean, my parents, it was a lot of struggle, right? It was a lot of struggle going to school, going through. I can count how many times I was always sent back home, and I'll have to be in the house till almost during the exam period. My parents will, go and beg the headmistress and maybe give deposit, and then I'll get to school. I can still remember that my uniforms were always torn. My uniforms was always torn at the back. I can still remember that I never had opportunity of, when we go out for break. So you see a lot of other students who have flask, their food flask with all kinds of meals. I never had food flask, right? So that was actually where I was coming from. And in the city, I went to primary school, secondary school there. I'm actually the first son. I'm firstborn. I have 6 siblings actually. So now I wanted to study medicine. I wanted to be a doctor to support, those passion to be a doctor thing. But yes, I was pretty brilliant, but there was just no resources to go to school. So I came out from secondary school and I got a job in a hotel, actually. I got a job in a hotel. I worked in a hotel for 2 years. But while I was in the hotel, I enrolled into a computer school. So I would go for computer school in the daytime. I work all night at the hotel. So I did this for 2 years. And I actually ran away from the hotel 2 years later when I had an offer to go to Austria. So I got some people that I had served and they wanted to send me to Austria to do drugs. And because, again, it was against my faith and, advice from, that was then when parents had time for their children. So they can always advise you, tell you things. Not now where, social media have really taken a lot of people. So I still had two statements that one was my father made, the other one my mom made. So I always put those two statements together and it defined the kind of decision I wanted to take per time. And one of them was, I want to also share that here, was that my mom always told me that, there's an adage that if a rat jumps jumps inside a pool with a lizard, and then both of them comes out, that the lizard will just shake the body and keep walking, but the rat will struggle to dry up. And that adage meant that you can actually get into an evil plot, a bad thing with someone, and that person survives, and then you are not going to survive, right? So that was actually what my mom kept telling me, and it helped me to make certain decisions for my life. So I really, really, really was very careful about the kind of association I was getting into and all that. So I ran away from the city and then got into another city where I utilized the knowledge I had acquired from computer school, and then I got to work with the local government service commission at the time in Ebonyi. I worked there for 2 years, and then I got appointment. I was 22 years when I got an appointment to serve as the SA to the head of service in Ebonyi. Now, remember, I didn't say I've gone to school. I did all these things I was not a university. I did not go to school. I was not a civil
Wow.
servant, and I was just really 22 years because in 2009, I had joined an organization where I was volunteering. In fact, someone just joined here who pretty much knows about my my NGO background. She's here, Chinwe Nadi. Ati Chinwe, it's been a long time. Good evening. So, I joined that organization on volunteering, and I volunteered for 6 years. So it was those accumulation of experiences. I got to work on different projects, orphans and vulnerable children, rollback malaria, community TB care. I did a lot of activities, and eventually those experiences culminated into my passion. Now, what was my passion? Within this period, I also had the opportunity to serve as a personal aide to Dr. Miles Monroe when he was alive. But I kept seeing a lot of young people who were always reaching out to me to say they were inspired with what I was doing. And there is this excitement when people always tell you they're inspired with what you're doing, and you are so happy, it gets into your head. But for me, it got to a point where I was no longer excited when people tell me they were inspired with what I was doing, because these guys had the opportunity to go to school. I wanted to go to school. I did not have anybody to send me to school. They were all in school. So how come that most of them who have people that could support them, who could pay their school fees, who could give them pocket money, who could pay their house rent, and they were now the ones causing nuisance, causing problem in the society? I, who do not have opportunity of going to school, how come they are now reaching out to me to say they are inspired? So it became a burden for me. So how do I start engaging with these guys to say, oh, the things that I'm doing without a degree, without a certification, how much more if you start doing them with your certificate? So that was actually what bettered the idea to say, okay, you know what, I want to set up an organization where I don't just need to meet with people as Raymond Okpani, but I need to meet with them as a platform, right?
Wow.
And so that was actually what bettered. Now, since I had already been in the NGO space for 6 years, I had been in the public space, public service for 6 years. It was a lot of experience, and the fact that working in the public service and then volunteering in an NGO kept me at the middle. It kept me at the middle where on one side, I could connect with people in communities. I know that people were having problems as I was volunteering, going to communities, going to villages. I could see people who were having very critical issues that maybe little resources could have helped. Maybe one buy malaria medicine, buy typhoid, all those things could help. But on the other hand, also, as the SA to the head of service, I could also see how the government, there's a lot of money to go around that are being in the hands of politicians. And so it is not even getting, that moment where you are in the middle. So you are seeing the money here, how it's coming, but you are also seeing how people here are suffering because they cannot get access to this thing. So it really, really broke me. And that was actually what they gave birth to Youth Spark Pan Africa. At the beginning, it was not Youth Spark Pan Africa. It was a different name, but the idea was to promote youth leadership and socio-economic development. Because I was just saying in the last Instagram live I said, you see, John C. Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on leadership. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you take it to. It has to be leadership. But then when we start breaking down the leadership, there are different aspects where you can lead. You can lead. The first person you have to lead is yourself. So there is a leadership at a personal level. Then there is a leadership at people that you are greater than, or you are bigger than, or you are more exposed than. There is leadership at the level of your peers, people that are at your level. And then there is also leadership towards people that are above you, because you need some level of leadership skill to be able to manage people that are above you. So these were all the things that we thought of when we started up Youth Spark Pan Africa, and we did a lot of activities, secondary school program, campus activities. Now, I was not a university, I was not a student, but we were doing a lot of program in campuses. We were doing a lot of engagement. And at some point in 2012, I got an admission, actually. When people were like, and you know what, you need to go and do work and study. I got into work and study. I don't have any problem with that. But for someone that really wanted to study medicine, I was very curious. I was reading. Personal development was my thing. I spent a lot of money on books, So just a lot of stuff that I did at that time. So I got an admission to study a different course, an entirely different course. I got into the university and I wasn't getting value. So what I did was that I walked out from the university. I didn't drop
Wow.
out, but I walked out. I myself, I knew why I was leaving. You know, when people drop out is that, man, I don't want to do this again. No, I didn't do that. My walking out was that I knew that that wasn't what I wanted. There was an entirely different thing I wanted. And from that moment, I knew I wanted to, you know, do something very, very, very different with my life. And it's taken me like 14 years to eventually get into a university where I'm getting a lot of value, building a lot of experience, and all that. So I don't know if you have other questions, so that I don't just go on
Wow,
and on here.
wow, 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 wow. In fact, you said a lot. You said a lot. You talk about your mom, that your mom usually give you advice. You know, I like that. There's a particular adage in Nigeria. They said children always takes after the behavior of their mother, and they takes after the brain of their mom. You know, because mom are always with the children. But I realize that you are brought up, though money may not be there. It's maybe from a humble background, but at least somebody is there to always guide you, and it has shaped you to who you are today. Because I'm sure that advice will still be beaten at the back of your mind anytime, even till now. So, and volunteering has helped you to mingle with people that you may not have even met on an usual event. So that's power of volunteering. Some people, they have what they can offer the society, but they'll be like, let me be a one man mopo. But one thing about value is just that value begets value. The more you render value to people, the more people also render values to you. Then you also talk about leaving the university. I realize that average Nigerians, many of us, we became wiser after service year. You get that? Once we do NYC, when we get the khaki, yes, yes. Once we wear the khaki, we sit down. What was the next thing in my life? It seems I studied the wrong course in the university. But you know, somebody has, like you, has become an essay, especially at version 22. You know what the outside world is. Like, you know what you really wanted for yourself. Like Afri Nigerians, even at 30, they don't know what they want for themselves. So I really, really commend you on that. And that's the power of exposure, power of self-development, the power of personal development and the like. Because believe me, truth be told, it's until I finish university, I realize that if somebody have a first class, then you can probably secure admission, you can secure a scholarship for a fully funded MSc abroad. Imagine somebody finishing a federal university before you can realize that. These are things you should have known even before we write jam. So you get, so you really know what you wanted for yourself, and you have been building yourself all along. So, and the question I want to ask is that, like, your mindset, what role has your mindset plays in all these things from, because I'm sure you must have seen something that should have weakened you. What role has your mindset played so far till now?
Oh, okay. Okay. So let me say this about mindset, because this is really going to be very, very interesting to share. Um, by default, especially where we are coming from. I mean, if you are in Africa and specifically in Nigeria, where the system is the way it is, and we are growing up, we by default we are wired to fail in that environment by default. And why I say by default, I'm being very careful why I'm saying that, is because you do not have all the tools and resources that will naturally empower you, that will naturally appreciate your talents, that will naturally incubate your potential, right? And so what happens is that because of the absence of those tools and those resources, by default, you are already gone. You can't compete and all that. So one of the things I did was that one day I asked myself a question. I had to do a life audit, with all this sense, with all this intelligence that God has given me, with all these, tools and resources and my abilities. What will my life be like in the next 5-10 years? And in those next 5-10 years, because let me tell you, there's a question that helped me to change my mindset, and it's a very straightforward question. And that question is, what do you really want? You see, any day you ask yourself that question, and I'm not talking about what do you want. What do you want can be anything. I said, any day you sit down comfortably and you can ask yourself, what do you really want? What do you really want helps you to drive to specifics, what you want. What do you want? You can say, I want a car. But if someone said, what do you really want? And you want to talk about a car, you now go into specifics. I want a navy blue 2021 Range Rover Sport. Do you understand that kind of thing? So I asked myself that question, what do I really want for my life? Now, I did a life audit. Number one, I knew that by default, I was already disadvantaged. By being disadvantaged is the fact that I cannot compete with an average Nigerian. Because in our environment, you have to compete. The first qualification you have to compete is that you have to have a university degree, right? So I knew that I did not even have it. So because I did not even have it, I cannot even say that I am qualified to stand where graduates are standing. So it was like a life audit for me. So I started asking myself, so how do I position myself to compete at a level, even when I don't have these things? And so that question started helping me to now start asking myself, what kind of people do I need to have that will help me to acquire more tools that weaponize myself, right? I had to ask myself, what kind of people do I need? What kind of places do I need to go to? Now, guys, if you know me very well, you know that I travel a lot. And I tell people, I wrote a book and I was telling people that traveling is an advanced form of education. Listen, traveling is an advanced form of education. It doesn't matter how many certificates that you have. In fact, I met someone, the person went to primary school in the same, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
I
Please, can you confirm if you hear me? So I met someone, the person went to primary school in the same state, he went to secondary school in the same state, he went to university in the same state, and he did his NYSC in the same state. Wow. Now, it doesn't matter whether he had first class in that state. Trust me, he is not qualified to compete at the global space. In fact, it is even crazy right now because your competition is even no longer the people you used to know them. They are no longer in your village. Your competition is now abroad. They are now global. And so traveling is one way you shorten your curve. Because by traveling, you get, so I traveled a lot. What I did with my mindset changed when I started traveling. I told you guys that, I mean, I already had a lot of experience, guys. I worked with an NGO, I volunteered, I traveled for trainings, I traveled for programs, I traveled for seminars. I went to, like by God's grace, I've been to like 27 out of the 36 states in Nigeria. So exposure played a very huge role. So it doesn't matter whether you are coming from a poor background. Position yourself in an environment, right? Position yourself in an environment that breaks out those, those low-level thinking. So what I did was that I never cared about where I was coming from. The only thing that mattered to me was where I was going. And I knew that I did not have the resources to compete. I did not have a university degree. I did not have anybody to send me to school. I didn't have. So what did I do? I started building association. Now, relationship is one thing that will remain when everything fails. Relationship is the only thing that will remain when everything fails. I understood that early. That it doesn't matter how broke I get. It doesn't matter how my life gets wasted. If I can maintain quality people in my life, they will help me to stay afloat. And so what did I do? I started positioning myself with people. Now, I didn't study medicine, but over 60-65% of my friends are medical doctors. So what did it do? It positioned me in an environment where I was constantly working on myself to remain afloat. So I read a lot of books. I traveled to different places where some of them didn't travel. So I always had new information. And I always tell people that there are two things that you must have, two things that you must be very intentional in your life. Number one is the quality of your association. Number two is the quality of your information. Now, two of them work hand in hand. Now, if you have quality information, it will attract quality association. But if you have quality association, it will empower you with quality information. So it doesn't matter. You can say you don't like reading, but if you have a group of people who love reading, they are going to feed you with information that you need for your growth. if you are the kind of person that love reading, you are eventually going to attract the kind of people that will help you to grow. So I understood this very, very clearly, and I started working on them. So I have very quality people. Some of them I had to pay to gain access. And I tell people that, listen, access is powerful. Access is key. No matter what you're doing, you must have access. You must have access to the right people. And some people that I gain access with, some of them I had to pay, because attention is the most expensive currency. Attention is the most. So don't expect that people are waiting for you to come and get into their space. People are busy with their time. And so for someone to turn their attention and look at you, then you must be willing to pay. You must be willing to measure their, you must be willing to drive that distraction. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what I did was I started looking out for people that I needed for where I was going. So what did I do? Some of them, I paid for their courses. Some of them, I paid for their mentorship program. Some of them, I attended their events. So I attended a lot of programs. And when it was time for me to say, oh, I want to start doing stuff outside Nigeria, guess what? I paid for an event outside Nigeria. I did not just start doing that. I paid for an event outside Nigeria. I traveled out of Nigeria for the first time in 2017. And by 2018, 1 year later, I was already doing a lot. So, guys, there are a couple of things that will help you to move your mindset. And this is actually one of those things. And let me also say the importance of having a vision. Because we also have, when we get to talk about some of these things and we don't talk about the, some of the critical things that will really help us, vision is powerful. Vision is powerful. And I'm not talking about vision in your head. I'm talking about a vision that is written. I remember in 2016, you were talking about my being invited by the Rwandan presidency to speak at the Youth Connect Summit. That thing didn't just happen. That thing was on a vision board I made in 2017. I did a vision board in 2017. I detailed the countries that I wanted to go to. And now what I did was that I said, I want to speak to a population of 10,000 persons. I did it in 2017. So I crafted a picture of a very large place where there are a lot of crowds that you cannot number. I pasted it on that wall in my small Kobeko in Abakaliki. It was a Kobeko because once with my bed, there was no space. So I pasted it there. I pasted that I wanted to host an event in Kenya. I posted I want to host a program at the British Council in Ghana. I posted that I wanted to host something in South Africa, but for some reasons, I didn't go to South Africa, So I just put up some of those things. So there's this importance of having a vision. So many people don't have their visions written out where they can see it. So I had a vision, and so it was driving me to the kind of people that will help me to fuel that vision. And they were also giving me the kind of information that was helping me to fuel that vision. And let me say this, you need to know these three things, because I know that there are a lot of people that are listening to me right now. And that's why I'm trying to touch on a lot of things so that you can pick out something that is, that is connected to you. But there are three things you need to know if you really want to break into the global space. Now, for me, I'm a very strong advocate of going global. Like everything you want to do, you have lost the right to be local. If you are listening to me, you have lost the right to think local. You have lost the right to imagine local. You have lost the right to even think of anything at the local level. And so there are three things you need to do. You need to know if you are really looking forward to going global. Number one is that the globe will recognize you based on your capacity to do. Based on your capacity to do. Your capacity to do. What can you do? That's one. Number two, the world will appreciate and welcome you based on your capacity to know. There are a lot of people that they don't know how to do it, but they have the information. They have the information. They cannot implement, but they can give you strategies that work. And the world is going to celebrate you based on your capacity to do, based on your capacity to know, and lastly, based on your identity, who you are. who you are. There are some people, they don't know how to do, but they have access. When they come, everybody starts coming around, right? So those people have access. They have access to quality people. They have access to the right people. They have access to all kinds of people. So guys, just a sec. Just give me a sec. So guys, so the world is going to celebrate you based on your capacity
to do what you know and the access you have.
Who you are, your identity. And so you want to start asking yourself, who am I really? Are you the kind of person that people can actually reach out to? So there are some people that they don't even know anything, but the kind of people that they know, they don't know what's happening. They don't know what's trending, but just say, I need access to the minister of so and so. They already know how to get that. You know, based on your identity. Identity is very powerful. And I tell people that the best way to build your identity is to embrace what I love so much called personal branding. Personal branding. Personal branding is the future of business, is the future of leadership, is the future of everything you want to do. You know, people always ask me, Raymond, how did you do this? It's personal branding. It's personal branding. And what is personal branding? It is simply how you curate, how you want people to see you, what you want people to think about you, how you want people to feel when you are not in the room, what you want people to talk, say about you when you are not there with them. It is very possible to engineer that. You can intentionally curate how you want people to talk about you. You can intentionally, design what you want people to think each time your name is mentioned. That is how to build an identity. Now, remember that I told you guys that I was in Ebonyi. I was in Abakaliki. Abakaliki is like one of the places that when you even mention, some people don't even know where it is in Nigeria. So how is it possible to have just left Abakaliki, nothing in Enugu, nothing in Lagos, nothing in Abuja, and you just shot yourself? It's called quantum leap. It takes a lot of energy. But how was I able to achieve that? It's based on what is called personal branding. And again, trust me, it is better you brand yourself before people brand you, because there are two things that must happen. It's either you brand yourself or you will be branded. If you brand yourself, people will relate with you based on who you are designing yourself to be. But if you allow people to brand you, you can never change it, because you will not be there to be telling everybody, no, that thing is not about me. No. And how is it? It's about how you talk. It's about your self-image. It's about your dressing. It's about, I see a lot of people where once there is any trend online, they just jump on it. No, you're wasting your energy. You're dissipating your energy. And that's really what a lot of people are, people want. They know that once you put your energy on a particular thing, your capacity starts getting drained. Your idea bank will start getting bankrupted. You start having bankruptcy in your idea bank, because the place where you're supposed to be thinking from, you're using it to argue on people's comments on what is trending. And so this is actually, I wanted to, to expand on that, because there are so many people that have missed a lot of opportunities because they have not managed their identities very well. They have not managed their identities very well. How is it that you come out online and you tell us all the big things about you, and just one little thing is that one randomness, one noise is happening on social media, your name is in there. You're there liking the post. You're there commenting. You're there trying to explain what nobody is asking you to explain. And so you're wondering, why are opportunities not coming my way? Why are people not buying, patronizing my business? Why are these people not seeing me this way? It's because somewhere you are, you are kind of damaging your identity. You are removing from what you are building. You're removing from what you're building. And so identity is so powerful. There's a lot happening here since I moved I moved abroad, and then it's a lot that I can't say here, but you see, identity is powerful, guys. Most times when people are within their comfort zone, They think that that is all. Now,
They feel relaxed.
and where the mindset begins to break open is let someone take an opportunity. I had that problem. Take an opportunity and board a flight. When you board a flight and the flight is leaving, make sure you are by the window, and the flight is ascending, you will see that the world is so big that you see that argument you are making in your street, on your street, it will not take you anywhere, right?
Wow.
The arguments that you are trying to explain, that explanation cannot sustain you at the global level. And so that's why I really love telling people about exposure.
Let me quickly ask a question. Let me quickly ask a question about that. You talk about going global. Believe me, I don't know. There is just one mist. I realize that these days, best brains are living in Nigeria. People are just living in Nigeria, in the digital space, in the real estate space, and the like. And also realize that many of the people leading us today, or many of the people doing well in a particular industry today, they have one or two things to do with abroad. Maybe they went there to go and school, they went to Harvard, they came back to Nigeria, they dominate every sectors. Or maybe they're even in the same Europe or in the USA or Canada anyway, but they are still doing something that we are feeling here in Nigeria. Many of the top artists today, they study abroad. So Banky W, all of them, Tenny and the likes. Even we know many of them, right? Our top politicians today now, though they may be good guys when they are there, but when they come back to come and dominate us, it seems there is something about just going global, going to other countries. When they come back, they dominate. So how has that helped you? Like, what has that changed in you? And why do you think Nigerians need to go global?
Okay, so let me tell you, first of all, is that I'm a pro-Nigerian. Nigeria is one of the, we are one of the most talented, most courageous, most visionary. I've been to 15 countries, and I can tell you, in all these countries that I have been to, I could see how Nigerians are celebrated all over the world, right?
Yeah.
But, it's really started from back in the days where our mandate from God is actually not to be in one place. Even the holy book where we read, God will always say, see, the idea I have for you is not for you to be. He said you should dominate, right? You should dominate. Now, most people did not understand that, and so they just want to stay at a place, at the comfort zone, because they are scared of moving and all those things. Now, when I went global, I realized something. There are different mindsets, there are different lifestyle, there are different culture, there are different experiences, there are different stories. There are a lot of things that combines together to change what you have always had growing up from where you are. Those of us that are in Nigeria, especially in different kinds of families where we have an entirely different upbringing, and we are all some accumulation of all the experiences that we have had while growing up. Accumulation of all the experiences that we had from our environment. That's what we have in Nigeria. It can never be different. For instance, we grew up where we will always have the light go off. There is something it does to the mind. The first time I traveled to Ghana, I spent 2 weeks. 2 weeks. On the 10th day, that was the day I realized that the light has not blinked. I thought that there was a problem. That's why the light did not go off. So I was now asking my friend, I was like, Chris, what's going on? Is it like there's a problem with the light here that it doesn't even go off? He said, why will it go off? So even him doesn't even understand that light used to go off. So there is a mindset to that. Now, let me say this now. Here where I'm studying, it is structured that transportation is free. Now, it's not free because maybe somehow it's embedded in your school fees, so you don't even know about it. Do you understand?
Please come again. Do you mean in Cyprus, where you are studying right now, transportation is free?
I said where I am now. If you are a student, transportation
Cyprus,
is
right?
free. Yes. Transportation is free if you are a student. Now, maybe the payment is embedded in the school fees, but the most important thing is that at every hour when you get to the bus stop, that is the bus every hour. It does not mix. If it has to come by 1 p.m., it does not miss 1 p.m. If you miss 1 minute, you are going to miss the bus for the next 1 hour, right? Some schools, the buses move every 2 hours. So it means that if you miss the bus by 1 minute, you are going to spend, the consequences is that you are going to spend the next 2 hours before you can get the next bus. But at the end of the day, you have, the only thing you need to do is to prepare early, get to the bus stop, and you go to school, right? There's a mindset back home in Nigeria where you don't even have good roads for those vehicles to pass. There's a mindset. There's a mindset to where a school might make a budget for those equipments or those vehicles to be bought, and one person will withhold the money.
ASU strike.
Do you understand? So it's crazy. So while I don't really want to delve into that, but I'm just trying to say that leaving the comfort of where you have always been has a way of elevating and fast-tracking your progress in life, in destiny as a whole. It has a way of expanding your worldview. It has a way of expanding your worldview. Like, you start seeing the world differently. The first time I went to Rwanda, I cried. You know, I got back to Nigeria, I knew that for unknown, never have problem with anybody because of resources, because of money or anything, because of how Rwanda rose from nothing. Those guys were fighting all their lives in 1994. Over 1 million people died in 3 months. And you can see how they have turned themselves right now to one of the most loving, hospitable, one of the most development-driven, one of the leadership. Like, a lot of things is happening there. And you see, you really want to be in an environment that gives you an entirely different worldview. That's why it's happening. Now, you asked me a question, why everybody is going. That's because, let me tell you, sometimes when you are in an environment that is saturated, what do? You step out. It's called blue ocean strategy. You step out to an environment where you can have an helicopter view about what is going on, and you can now know the bright places where you can pinpoint the things you want to do. See, Nigeria is over 200 million people. The market is in Nigeria. Why do you think that some of them travel and they don't remain there? They travel, but their eyes are still in Nigeria because the market is in Nigeria. If you're a business owner, it's in Nigeria. Anything you want to do, we have huge resources, huge potential, human resources, agricultural resources, raw materials, everything we have in abundance. And so what they do is that they step into a different country, they go global, and then have an helicopter view of the right places where, you know, they can actually mount their tents. They know the right places, the right way to talk, the science behind engaging with people. Because you know that if you're in Lagos, for instance, because Lagos is a lot of randomness. You know, I was in Lagos for 2 years, and I was not going out. I don't go out. I lived at a place where everything I wanted was around me. And there's also a mindset to that. There's a mindset to that because you could buy time. You could think clearly. You know, I lived in an environment where I never had to think about data. I didn't think about data. I was in Lagos. I never thought about data. I was in a place where I never thought about light because there was always light where I was in Lagos. I didn't say everywhere. I said where I was. It was intentional, you know. So it helped me to really elevate my thinking such that, you know, when I decided to go out, I've been traveling, but what happened the very first time I even bought a flight ticket, I never wanted to, you know, they gave me money to buy a flight ticket. I'll do night bus. So I did a lot of night bus in Nigeria. I did a lot of night bus. I'll pocket the money for flight, you know, but the very first time I eventually boarded a flight, you know, was even by mistake because I told those people they should give me the money. They said, no, I should send my name and then send me the ticket. And eventually I got that. Since that day, I made up my mind that our experience will not stop, you know. So, but
Wow.
again, it's really been interesting. It's really been interesting. I also wanted to say something about environment, guys.
Okay, before you talk about environment, sir, first of all, I would like to ask you a question. After doing the question, while answering this question, you can chip in about the environment. You know, in life we have a breaking point. There'll be a time that will be like, I'm giving up entirely. In fact, maybe God didn't want this thing for me. This thing I'm pursuing, maybe God didn't want it for me. So have you ever encountered that? Have you ever been in that same period? And how are you be able to overcome it? Because some people right now, like that's the stage they are. I was there that I wanted to give up on something I've been doing for 2 years without results. But that same instant I wanted to give up, but somebody just came to my head. So when you were in that downtime, how are you be able to overcome it?
So let me say this. I've been there. In 2016 and 2017, I lost everything. Now,
Wow.
I was the estate to the head of service up until 2015. Now, I want you to catch this story. Up until 2015. After the 2015 general election, I decided I didn't want to work with government, right? And you know that aspect where there was no plan, nothing. And so once you just step out of government, your own has finished.
That's all.
Because now you can no longer sustain those big names, honorable D's. And reality also started dawning on me. Don't forget, I did not have a university degree, so I can also not get a job. I couldn't get a job. Now I was working somewhere. Now I'm no longer working there, so I couldn't pay my house rent. I was evicted from my house twice, not the same house. I was evicted from that house where I now moved to a different house, and I could not even pay for that particular one. I was evicted there also.
AOSA, new advisor.
So from that level, I was evicted. Now, within that period, I got depressed. Why did I get depressed? I was depressed because, number one, I didn't have a job, so I was not making money. I was terribly broke. I was squatting with my friends. One of my friends, I was squatting with him. So, you know that moment where you practically have to depend on every meal from your very close friend who is also a student. It was a very terrible place to be, because for someone like me who was always thinking about being independent, you know, and all those big thoughts, you're now thinking that your friend has to be the person always feeding you. Now, it was not from a place of pride. It was from a place of, I would also want to contribute.
Yes.
It was also from the aspect of, man, when will I start buying the bread in this house? When will I start buying the coke in this house? When will I start doing stuff also? Must it be every time that they have to now get for me? Now, sometimes I may be hungry and they are not around. So it means that I'm also, and this happened between 2016 and 2017. Within that
Wow.
period, I lost everything. I was not in school. Within that period, I also lost a very again, it's in the past now, but I also lost my relationship there. So I had like a relationship that was already like 5 years, right? It got lost because I got busy trying to find myself, trying to find my feet, and you know, things just couldn't work out and all those things. Now, why am I saying this, you know, in the public space? It is because I have gotten to that point where I felt like taking my life with all my
Wow.
experience, with all the things that
Wow.
I had, with, you know,
Wow.
my intelligence, with everything. I wanted to
Wow.
end it in
Wow.
2017, but something actually changed. Let me
Wow.
tell you guys what's changed. What's changed was that I thought myself, I realized one of the days, I realized that there were two things that actually made me to really consider. One was that I imagined that there are so many people whose successes are tied to my own success. That in destiny, there are a lot of people who will not, maybe they will succeed, but their own journey will take very longer. Because at the point where they are supposed to meet me, I will not be there because I am a failure somewhere. So I always told I now reflected on that and say, oh, so it means now that if I take my life right now, I've also put a comma in some people's life trajectory because they were supposed to meet me and I will say something to them and they will be inspired to really push. I know how many persons that have said, Raymond, it was because of you that I made my first trip outside Nigeria. I know how many people that have said, Raymond, you inspired me to get my passport. I know how many people that have said, Raymond, because of you, I started that business. I heard your story and I felt like, no, if you could do this thing, I could do that. You know, I know how many people that said, Raymond, if you spend 14 years before going to the university, how much more about me that I am already in the university now? I know people that have said, Raymond, if you spend 14 years all this while and we didn't even think, we were arguing that you are a graduate, you are not a graduate, you are a graduate, you are not a graduate. How much more about me that I already have a degree? What can I do with this? I mean, look at what you're just saying. So many people in Nigeria do not know that the easiest pathway to traveling abroad, to going global, is through education. They're in Nigeria university, they don't know. They don't know that right now, that the easiest route for you to leave Nigeria or to go to another place is through education. And so they don't even take their studies very serious. Some of them are so brilliant that if they have this information, they will give more attention to their books. So I kept telling myself, you see, if I fail, I would have failed a lot of thousands of persons who are connected to me. That was what brought my senses back. Then the second point was that I told myself, you know what? I am willing to fail big. I am willing to fail big because failing is not the problem. You have to fail in such a way that it will make news. You have to fail in such a way that you are not the only person that knows that you failed. Let me give you an instance. If you jump down from a small plastic chair down, maybe the chair that you are sitting on, if you jump from there and break your two legs, it is not the news. Nobody will even talk to you. They will be asking you what happened. Are you epileptic? Why should you fall down from ordinary kitchen chair and you broke your two legs? It is not a news. But if you decide to fall from a 7-story building, if you decide to fall from a 7-story building, I can promise you, before you get to the middle, there is a lot of blogs that will carry your name, a lot of news agencies, a lot of people that will be talking about you. You fail in those two instances, but for one of them, you fail differently. And so I told people that it is better for me to fail big. Failing is not the problem. It's the fact that I cannot fail where nobody knew that I failed. No, you must know that I failed. And that was actually what engineered the movement of expanding Youth Park Pan-Africa to like a global platform. And trust me, most times some of the things that we are afraid of never happens. Most times some of the things we are very, very afraid of, it never happens. We are scared of taking this step because you think it will not work. No, take the step. In most cases, it will work, and you will even get more expanded perspective, more ideas. You will realize that there are people that have been waiting for that idea to support it.
Wow.
So those were really some of the things. And this actually, I drew it from Dr. Miles Monroe when he was alive. I am one of the most privileged persons that got to meet him when he was alive. And Dr. Miles says something I always like sharing with people because it might make sense to another person, when he said that every genuine vision will always make provision. Once your vision is genuine, forget it. The resources, the people that will support it, that will make it to grow, they are going to come.
So please, these are some of the things that you can hardly share with me, even if we are talking one-on-one. But being on a space like this, that people have to learn, you are pouring out your heart, and I'm sure people are really, really benefiting from it because I myself, my data is filled up. Like, let's say there is somebody now who is like he didn't know what to do, like he's battling with having because just talking about failure now, how to fail big. One should not limit himself. So if somebody is looking at that on themselves right now, what is the best solution for that person to just be like, oh, this world will be behind my this thing. Let me just go ahead. Is it that there are some books you need to read, some courses you need to buy, some places you need to visit for you to overcome that? Because believe me, this guy, Will Smith said something. He said our greatest breakthrough is at the other end of our greatest fear. So once we just leave that fear like this, we go there, we'll face our breakthrough. So what can you advise for somebody who's just looking down on himself right now, for him to just go and face the challenge and go and fail big?
Okay, let me tell you, the first thing is that everybody must understand that everybody is on a different journey. Everybody is on a different journey. There are no two people that are working on that have the same purpose. Do you understand? And even some people that have a particular purpose, the same purpose, they are not wired to go through the same route. They must have different routes of achieving that purpose. And so the first thing I will advise this person is to, first of all, understand that there are different people who are moving towards specific life assignment. And so what the person needs to do is to find out what is even your own life assignment. Because if you understand what your own life assignment is, if you understand what your own purpose is, you will now find out that you can be so consumed in your purpose that you are not even having any distraction elsewhere, right? So that's that. The second is that you need to know that it will not be easy. It's not going to be easy. In fact, there are some people who have suffered more than what you are suffering, and they made it out great, right?
Wow.
There are some people who have gone through worst issues. And by the way, let me even say this. There is something that we call effective blaming. Blaming effectively. And this is actually of a story where someone said, there's a way the story is told about a guy who came to the office one day, and then he got into the office one day and he was so angry. The staff spoke to him, and before you know what was happening, he got angry and sacked the staff, right? And he didn't know that the staff was having a problem at home. The parents were having an issue, and then the father, the mom was sick or something, and then someone died. Well, this is what I'm trying to bring out in making effective blaming. If you are angry that you are working on something and it's not even succeeding, have you ever thought about the people that were doing the same thing, and when they were just almost at the point of succeeding, they had an accident and they died?
Wow.
Have you ever thought about, you say, oh, it's because I'm sick? Yeah, I need to be grateful that you are sick. What if you had a surgery and your leg was amputated? If you say, because I don't have one leg, my leg is amputated. Oh, now listen, let me tell you guys. I listened to a video from Elon Musk. That video is still in my head. They were asking Elon Musk question. Elon Musk said, I've never had to give up. I will have to be dead or completely incapacitated before I will give up. I will have to be dead or completely incapacitated. So if you still have your 2 legs, 2 hands, trust me, you have the ability to do so much. But let me also say this. You know, when I started, I was saying something about the impact of association and information. Now you need to understand that these two things are going to help you. One of them, if you don't have one, you need money to buy the other one. What is that one? You don't need money to buy. You see information, you can use Google. Arm yourself with so much knowledge that quality people are looking for you. The thing is that people get distracted. They get distracted away from their life purpose. They get distracted away from their life purpose, right? And because they are so distracted, you are looking at what other people are doing. And that's why I'm so, sometimes I get irritated by people who are graduates, who are joining in all these online banters, online trades. And I'm like, you guys don't know. It took me 14 years, guys. You have this khaki, you have worn this khaki. You don't. It's not me now. I cannot wear the khaki again. I'm even regretting. I'm like, oh, I wish this is something I really would have loved to wear. Do you know that there are so many people in Nigeria that just by that khaki, they have access? Core members are the only people in Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, who have the ability to break into Aso Rock anytime that they like. But they may argue this. They may argue this, but they don't understand that there is a way to use khaki
Yeah.
and get
Yes.
into Asorok and stamp yourself as an authority. I was talking
And
about identity earlier on, who you are.
yeah.
You can wear that khaki as you are getting into a place, the way you talk, the way you present yourself. You now get into a place, the crowd of comment. You know, when I was in Nigeria, I used to speak to coppers. So during their passing out, I'm invited to some states and I have to speak to over 4,000 coppers. You know, one of those days I was speaking to them and I was like, these people don't even know that I don't have a university degree. If these people know that I don't have a university degree and I'm talking to them, telling them how to have sense, you know. So guys, so I'm just saying this because you don't have to give up, right? If you are in that place where you are thinking that everything, is not working, trust me, it's not because everything is not working. It's because you need to learn how to make it work, because the same thing that has not been working has been working for other people. And what do you need to do? You need to first of all identify people who are in that space, people who are succeeding in that space, and find out what they are doing differently. Find out the kind of meetings that they go to. Find out the kind of content that they make. Find out the kind of people that they follow. Find out the kind of conversations that they love finding themselves around. If they love hanging out, find out where they hang out and go to that same place. And trust me, exposure is so powerful. I had Denzel Washington who said that, when you hang around the barber shop and very soon you get a haircut. And that's because if you are continuously look at these people, if you continuously find ways to gain access to them. And I made a post yesterday online and I was telling people that you don't understand how much there are some places that even your money cannot give you access to. There is a level where your money cannot give you access to a place. In those places, what gives you access is your service, your volunteering. You meet people, you find out what you can, what you can provide to help them make their life easier. They won't know that you are looking for access to them. They will think that it's because you just want to come and serve, you want to just come and help them. No, you're not coming to help them, you're coming to help your own self. So it's not going to be easy, but you need to find people who are succeeding in that area. Do the same thing that they are doing. There are no shortcuts, guys. If you're looking forward to succeeding in life, there are no shortcuts. You have to do the work. You have to pay the price. And in case you say you don't want to pay the price now, tomorrow you're going to pay higher, because the future is expensive. The future is very, very expensive. You say you don't want to do it now. There will never be a time where you have to trek to America. It will never happen. You will always use flights. And when you have to do, depending on where you are and what you are doing part time, you're going to pay a lot of money and to be able to do that. So guys, it's really easy. It's not going to be easy, I beg your pardon, but it is very possible. For me, I tell people that I am one of the people who had no reason. There was no way I could have made it. There was no way I could have been in this place. There was no way. People, even when I got to this place, I have an event that I'm trying to engage with people that want to study abroad, and then there are just some things that I have to share in that stuff, but there are a lot of ways, guys. There are a lot of ways. You just need to find how. What are people doing that you are not doing? And until you commit yourself to doing those things, then you're going to still be at the same place thinking that God is not faithful. But trust me, God is faithful, and God's grace is really available to help us to succeed. You just have not learned how to engage that grace. You just have not learned how to engage the resources that God has placed around you. You have not learned how to manage the people around you. You have not learned how to manage the information that you get part time. You have not learned how to take advantage of opportunities that you get part time, right? And because you are scared of doing those things, you are still in the same place thinking that life is difficult, but really, it's really not difficult, guys.
All right, thank you very much. Like you said a lot. I don't even know the next question to ask because you've touched everything. So first of all, I welcome Mr. Victor Adeshewa here, the co-founder of Land Republic. So your presence here tonight meant a great deal for us. So thank you very much for coming. So Mr. Raymond, the question I want to ask you right now is that you usually organize a yearly program on in Rwanda. So what about that program? What about, like, why do you think you should be organizing it? Why do you choose Rwanda? Why not Nigeria? Why not Egypt? Why not Cyprus, where you are? So
But is that something you want to add to the Rwandans, that you want to exclude Nigerians, or just be like maybe there to be more better? So what's about the program, and what value has the program been doing for everybody that actually attend?
Okay, so basically, what actually brought about it, the events, the signature program. Victor, I celebrate you. I see you, Oga at Land Republic. So, Victor, I have a conversation with you much later, Sha. But this is what actually happened. So when we started doing a lot of engagement at, back in Nigeria, we also thought of expanding what we are doing to, reach out to other entrepreneurs and business owners outside Nigeria. And the idea is to create a platform for cross-breeding of ideas. So what it means is that, and that's one. Then secondly was also to provide a platform that will influence global market penetration. And what I mean by that, I'm going to explain that very quickly. So for cross-breeding of ideas is that, so we can have someone that is engaging in a particular activity or a particular business, and let's say the person is selling, let's say pure water business, sachet water business in Nigeria, and then get to, come to a neutral environment, neutral ground, and then you have people from other nationalities, right, who perhaps they are also in that line of business, but there is a different way they are using it to, solve more problems and reach out to more people and make more profits and all those stuff. It was going to be an opportunity to crossbreed ideas and learn from what other people are doing firsthand, and also foster collaboration, like in real time collaboration. You can have somebody that can hold and say, you know what, I'm doing this with you. That's one. Secondly, is that it was going to also facilitate global market penetration. What's the idea behind that? The idea is that if you are selling groundnuts in Lagos, we need to find someone in Kenya, in Nairobi, who will be interested in your groundnut business, or who will know someone else that will be interested in your groundnut business, so that through that person, you can foster a high-level collaboration to do your business in Nairobi, even when you are not in Nairobi. So that was actually the idea behind the global market penetration. So we started doing that. Also, we also say, you know what, a lot of people spend a lot of time at, halls, when they get to a meeting, they can spend a lot of time in a hotel, in a conference hall from morning till evening. How do we also provide people with value such that they are experiencing what we call innovative learning? Not just learning, but innovative learning. Innovative learning means that you don't need to be in one place. How can you be mobile and you are learning as you are moving? That's that's why traveling is powerful, because some of the things you learn from the point of leaving to the point of departure, you cannot learn them in classroom. It's not possible. And so we're like, okay, how do we do that? So we structured the program where we're going to have that platform for strategies where we can engage with people, speak with people directly to their businesses, provide strategies with them, create a link up, create like a platform for collaboration, right? And then second component is that we are also going to engage with what we call learning visit. Learning visit is that we get to expose them to public office holders, some very top government officials in Rwanda, like the ministers and some other high-level people who they will also engage with. Now, these things I'm telling you play a lot of role in amplifying an individual's brand and perception. Because if you are in another country where you engage with their government officials, when you come back to your country, you are no longer mates with the people you left, right?
Yeah.
You're no longer mates with them, because every engagement you're going to have, you're going to be making references to, the experience, your interaction, and all those things, exposure and all that. That was actually the second component. We have what we call learning visit. And the third thing is that we're going to also have tours, like city tours, where people can go to notable places and engage with other people who are also in the line of what they are doing, nationals, and get to learn from them. But this year, in July, we have also included like another component, actually, which will really be very massive, and that is like a field trip. So we also say, oh, okay, we also like to have an experience where people can travel within that same country also. So get to Rwanda, people also have to travel away from the capital city just to go and also learn. Now, you asked me a question, why Rwanda? Now, the truth is that Rwanda is one of the most inspiring countries in Africa. And why
Wow.
do I say that? I say that because these guys are doing so much in every sector. No sector is lacking behind. They are doing extremely well in leadership, in technology. In fact, in Rwanda right now, they are producing, they are assembling mobile phone. There's a mobile phone that they are assembling in Rwanda from scratch to
Wow.
finish. It's called Marathon. You can just Google that, Marathon. So you have that technology. They are doing extremely well. Agriculture, they are doing so, telecoms. So these guys are so inspiring. So there will be no point taking people to an environment where they will have to struggle with learning. And they are also extremely very, very hospitable. And then the last reason is because that Rwanda is a visa-free country. So you don't need a visa to go to Rwanda. All you just need to do is to buy your flight ticket, pay for the event, and you have everything sorted out for you. So you don't have to start going through the pressure of, oh, how do I get visa? How do I go for interview? How do I pay this, pay that? You don't need that. It's an entirely, completely, you pay $0. You are not paying any dime for visa to go to Rwanda. And it's not expensive to go. So that's really why it has been about Rwanda, the hospitality, and also what people get to learn in that environment. Because, I mean, there will be no point taking people to an environment that is not peaceful, that is chaotic, that has insecurity issues. I mean, there's nothing that is worth the life of the life of people that we are bringing in our community. And this is why we have done this consistently since 2017. We have done this, we have hosted this event every year back to back. Even in 2020, during the COVID, we had a physical meeting in 2020, December. So you can imagine the event to be a platform to be so credible where people still attend an event, even during the COVID period. Is something, a credit that we are really proud to have gotten. And this year is really going to be very, very, very amazing in Rwanda, yes.
Wow. So thank you very much. Like the way you explain Rwanda, I've asked about Rwanda, I've watched some videos about Rwanda, but I did not say it right now. I was like, maybe I should even look into Rwanda. So I guess if you are alive right now, you should have a plan of being in Rwanda by July to attend the Youth Park Pan African program. So which is spearheaded by our amiable of God at all, Mr. Raymond. Believe me, if you can share so much value like this just within 1 hour, being with him for 3 days, 5 days in Rwanda, do you know the kind of values you are going to gain from him? And this the best time to prepare for the program is right now. So please, can you? I know you are an author, like you've authored the book, Profit, How to Make Profits from Your Passion. Please, like, in fact, I have a promise for somebody for the first person to come to the show tonight. So I've noted his name. So I'm going to buy a copy of your book and give it to him. So please, before then, can you please get more light to why because I think you have so hands in so many things. And this is just hardly people can be here. You are a leader, you know about government, you are an author, you are a speaker, you are an innovator. So what is you writing book? And what's like can you share some details about your book?
Okay, so I wrote that book. I have a book, my first book actually. My first book is called Passion to Profit Mastery: The Journey of Going from an Ordinary Individual to a Profitable Brand. And I wrote that book because, when I started at the early stage of my life, I was so passionate. I told you guys how I was very passionate. I had this burden of reaching out to young people and all that. I was so consumed with that passion that I never bothered about how to sustain the passion. And
Wow.
we all know that no matter how passionate you are about a particular thing, you must create a room to sustain it. Otherwise, that passion is going to kill you. And even if you die, the world still continues to move without you. So I wrote that book as a way of, detailing my journey, the things that I did, that helped me to break out. Because don't forget, having volunteered for 6 years with all those knowledge, and having worked at the local government service commission for 2 years, and having served as the SA to the head of service for 4 years, it's an overwhelming experience. But despite when I had all these things, I was evicted from my house twice just because I left that space. Despite having all these experiences, 1 year later, I lost everything. I was depressed. I still had those passions, but I was really, really struggling to survive. And so I realized that there is a pathway of you can actually have a passion, and if you cannot make a profit out of it, you're going to be frustrated. And so I was writing how the best way, and a lot of people on this table, actually, I don't want to break the table, but a lot of people on this table where they are always professing the things they are passionate about, but they are broke. They don't have shishi. They don't have money. They are broke. They are, feeding from hand to mouth and all those things. And so the idea is that for you to make profit from your passion, you have to convert your passion to a need that other people are willing to pay for. If you cannot make your passion a need that people can pay for, forget it. It is going to kill you. You have to drop it. There is nothing like sentiments. I'm passionate about it, your sentiment, and your landlord is pursuing you out of the house. There is nothing like, hey, I'm passionate about this thing, and you cannot pay your bill, you cannot do the things that you're supposed to do in your life. So I wrote that book to take people through the journey, the things that I wrote. Inside that place, I broke down personal branding, how I used it to grow from an ordinary individual. I was very ordinary, like very, very ordinary. How did I move from an ordinary individual to a place where, we are at the level where we are right now? How was I able to sustain and still remain sane 14 years without going to the university, and then decided, hey, I want to go to university now? And guys, trust me, I'm above 30, So that's actually that, so that you don't think that, hey, it's because we are still 20 something. No. So I wrote that book to really help some people who really want to move their life. They already have something they are passionate about, but you need to find a way to rake in a lot of resources from that place. And then I also wrote the second book is Traveling in the New Global Economy, What You Need to Know. Trust me, guys, traveling is huge. It's a huge market. You can use it. You can do your business at a bigger level. You can reach out to, what you need is just a foreigner, somebody who doesn't know your background, somebody who doesn't know where you are coming from, to appreciate that little effort you are making, and your life will change. The problem we have is that we are surrounded by people who know our story, people who know our background, people who know how we used to suffer. And so they have refused to appreciate who we are becoming. The worst people to have in your space right now are people who know where you are coming from, people who know your background, people who know how you used to suffer. Because no matter the effort you make to become better, they will always define you based on who you used to be. And so the reason why I tell people move out from where you are is so that you can find new people who didn't know about your past. And so you can start building the new reality based on these people's perception, and not based on the people that used to know you in the past. Otherwise, you will continue to flow with what people think that you used to be, and you won't see the brighter picture that is ahead of you. So those are just the two books that I have. And I also have the second book, my third book, I'm actually writing it right now, but I'm going to talk about that maybe much, much more later.
All right, sir. So how can we get your book, and how can we get your book? That's the question. And the second question is just that, is there a way we can connect with you more? Maybe you have a community you can join on social media, or you have a program you used to hold, like maybe you are your handles on social media, Twitter, and because I know you have a community, you have a tribe that people always benefit from your wealth of knowledge. So how can we join? How can we do that?
So there is, first of all, my community. There's a community. I just started the community. So there's a Youth Spark Pan African. You want to join Youth Spark Pan Africa? The handle is Youth Spark Africa, at Youth Spark Africa. That's where we get to share a lot about our global activities on Facebook. You can also follow on Facebook Youth Spark Pan Africa, and also our community Youth Spark Pan Africa community. It's also there. Once you put Youth Spark Pan Africa, you see. Yeah, you see, yes, just connect with us on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, anywhere you just put it out, it's going to be there. And yeah, about the book, just send a DM. you send a DM and we'll get that to you. If you send a DM, I'm gonna give you a 30% discount to get the book by next week, because those books are in Lagos. Yeah, I have some copies here, but they're in Lagos. They're not physical copy. Actually, you're gonna get the hard copy of that book. It will be sent to you in Lagos. You're gonna get 30% discount if you send me a DM on that book. And let me also say something, in case if you are a graduate or you're looking forward to studying abroad, or you're looking forward to studying abroad and all that, and you don't know how to go about it. It took me 2 months from the day I decided it was time to travel abroad to when I eventually traveled abroad. It took me 2 months. And I was telling someone I had only 40,000 naira, and they did not believe me. So
40,000 travel out.
I had only 40,000 when I decided I was going to leave Nigeria. I had only 40K, when I decided it was time to study abroad. So for people that are looking forward to studying abroad, or you want to do that, I have a program that is coming up. We call it Study Abroad Conclave, actually, where for me, I've been here a couple of months, and then I've seen a lot of things, how things are working, and I want to provide that knowledge and information that I have to some people to arm themselves. For people, perhaps you want to travel by September, you want to travel for the fall, you want to be part of that. So just send me a DM also. If you go to my timeline, you see that the flyer of that activity. Send me a DM, you can be part of that. It's 10,000 naira to be in class. But if you're coming from this community, send me a DM and you'll be in that class for 7,500 naira. I'll just give you a 2,500 naira discount just to be, just for today and tomorrow, actually, because I don't like working with a lot of people. I don't like crowd. I just want to work with people that will get results, and it's just fine. So that's that. And again, finally, if you want to come to Rwanda, we're also making a platform for people to, in case you don't have the bulk money, it is 558,000 naira, everything, flights, accommodation, everything, 558K. But perhaps you don't have everything and you want to make installment, you want to pay by installment. Yes, it's very possible. We also made it very, very, very flexible for people to pay in installments, or you want to pay in cryptocurrency, USDT and all that, everything. The idea is that you need to, elevate your thinking. You need to, don't think you are giving us money, because even if you don't come, some people have already paid for that, right? You can keep your money back. Some people use their money and invested in somewhere in Nigeria, and then today they're all crying. So you want to invest in yourself. You want to invest in yourself, and in the next couple of months, you will be grateful that you took those decisions.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, I got the pricing of the event, 550,000 naira. Is that
Yes,
correct?
558,000, like 5580, 558.
Okay, 55800.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, I will share the flyer later. So
Uh,
as a take home, like for African Nigerians now, many of us we have been misled, social media, politics, and I tell people that in Nigeria we are all blind. So we are all blind. Like African Nigerians, they are blind. If it's anybody just coming out and leading, either to the bad way or to the good side, they will follow. That's why there are some people calling themselves no manners, and they have huge followers. No bet gang. They have huge followers. Anybody can just come to tomorrow and craft something. Before you know it, PhD holders will follow them, professors will follow them. So how can we stay afloat? Because right now we know what to do. We need to have the money, we need to have the resources, we need to travel out of the country to learn more. But before we can afford that, we still have to cope. We still have to separate ourselves from the general crowd. So what advice can you give to us that can make us stay afloat until we can get the resources to leave Nigeria and to come back to come and dominate?
let me say this. See, you will never change the world. You can only change yourself. Right? You will never ever change the world. You can only change yourself. And by changing yourself, maybe the world will also start changing. Because we see a lot of people who are complaining about other people, and they are not complaining about themselves. They are pointing hands on how everything is not working, but they themselves, they are not seeing how their attitude is completely very, very disoriented, right? Now, Nigeria is very, 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 very very, very populated. See, the best way to change anything is to change yourself, right? And I'm saying that because if you change yourself, you would have immuned yourself from the crowd. You cannot change yourself inside the crowd. You live a lifestyle, you create your environment. One of the things that helped me was when I created what I call selective deafness. I have what I call selective deafness. Selective deafness is that there are things that no matter how they are happening around me, I will never, ever, ever assimilate them into my mind. No matter how it is trending. In fact, you'll be shocked that you will tell me about it, and I'm like, what does that mean? Because it does not, I didn't know that it was happening. Do you know that some of the things that trend, even when I was in Nigeria, some of them, I get to know about them after they have finished trending. So me, I will not be asking what exactly happened. And somebody's like, are you the only person that didn't know that X, Y, Z? I say, I don't know. I don't know how it happened. So if you want to immune yourself from what's going on, you must have selective deafness. You must start unfollowing some people if you need to unfollow people that usually create randomness in your life. You must unfollow some people. You have to review your association. You have to review the kind of people that are in your space. Like I said, you will never change the world. You can only change yourself. And if you are not trying to not change the world in the process and you not die, believe me, your death will not, it's only Jesus Christ death that can change it. Your death will not change anything. So many people have died in all kinds of places. Their death, and nobody even remembers them right now. And so the only way for the world to feel your impact is that you start working on yourself. Start creating an environment where you are growing exponentially, where you are becoming a voice, where you are becoming someone that cannot be ignored. I said something, I wrote something some days ago, and I said, be so good that you cannot be ignored. When you get to that level where you cannot be ignored, then you can start changing the world from your space. For now, yes, they are pursuing politicians. Focus on your own craft. What are you doing? Because at the end of the day, you need to secure your own life. You need to secure your own destiny. Now, I'm not talking about dying. I'm talking about your own destiny, what God has put into your hands, the vision that God has given to you. You need to preserve it. If you need to read more books, focus on reading those books. If you need to create more courses, focus on creating those courses. If you need to start doing business, focus on doing all those things. Because by the time you succeed, get so good that you cannot be ignored, then your voice can be heard. Until that happens, you are still in the crowd. You cannot change anything when you are inside the crowd.
Wow, thank you very, very much. We spent 1 hour, 35 minutes. Like, I wish we can just continue like on and on, but it's not possible. So, great appreciations and great gratitude to you for showing up here tonight and for pouring out your mind. Like, I myself, I know that these are things I need to improve. I think I need to include some of the things in this my 2022 goals and some things not to be removed. So, and that's the benefit of hosting this program. So, thank you very much. So the Youth Pan African yearly event is coming up in Rwanda in the month of July, and the price is 558,000 naira. You can pay at once, and you can pay gradually before the event. Likewise, you can get two books written by Mr. Raymond Okpani, how to make profit from your passion, and how to travel out of the country successfully. I didn't get that right anyway, but something related to traveling out of the country. So send a message to me if you are interested in all the traitors I listed above, or you can connect with Mr. Raymond Okpani on the social media handle at Raymond Okpani, and on Facebook, Raymond Okpani, on Instagram at Raymond Okpani. So all of you that are very here tonight, I am very, very grateful for you for showing up tonight, and I'm sure that you've learned one or two things. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next month edition of the Outlier series. The sole mission of this program is to give us leverage, and the leverage is to have a connection and to have the information that we may not have gotten on the normal case. So we shouldn't take this program for granted. So thank you very much once again, Mr. Raymond. So may Almighty God be with you, and everything you lay your hand upon may it become prosperous. So thank you very much, and see you in Rwanda.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll see you. Thank you so much for having me. Bye.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. Have a great moment.